It is a sunny day in Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, a city where days are warm almost the whole year. In this place, we can barely see vegetation because it's a very dry region. But Veracruz, on the other hand, is so different. Beautiful, isn't it? The beach and the aquatic organisms. Tourists seem to be very happy there. Perhaps they've gone there to pass their vacations in a zone with a more comfortable temperature. These two ecosystems are very different from each other. But why? The main difference between both is climate. And this happens because biosphere's climates are shaped by factors like latitude, the greenhouse effect, and the solar energy it receives. With these specifications, we know that Earth is divided into three different climate zones that vary getting warmer as going close to the equator. Climate is not the same as the weather, because weather is the day-to-day conditions that a region has, and the climate is a kind of an average based on the patterns of temperature that are observed year to year. The relationships between organisms are ecosystem shapers too. To understand this, first, we must know that species have their own range of tolerance, which is defined as the ability of an organism to survive or reproduce in a different place from its habitat. A habitat is where a species live. It is address. That is kind of related with niches. A niche is the range of physical and biological conditions in which a species live, and the way it obtains what it needs to survive or reproduce. I mean, resources. But in a planet where resources are limited, species must compete in order to get them and still alive. This is called competition, and it can be either intraspecific, performed by members of the same species, or interspecific, from different species. This process shapes communities by causing species to divide resources and determine the niche they will occupy. Consumers can shape communities as well. For instance, predators can affect the size of prey populations and determine the place where they live, and it happens the same with herbivores and producers. As we know, living things live close together in their ecosystem. The relationships in which two organisms live close together is called symbiosis. And the three most common types of symbiosis are mutualism, in which both organisms benefit from the relationship, parasitism, in which one organism benefits while the other harms, and commensalism, in which one benefits and the other isn't harmed nor benefit. All of these interactions between organisms and their environment shape communities, and can change them too. Getting back to where we started, Mexico is a country where almost its whole territory is covered by desert and tropical dry forest, and only a small part of it is covered by tropical rainforest, covering Veracruz as you can infer. These three different zones in our country are also called biomes, and they are described and classified by the most relevant abiary factors present in there, for instance, soil type and climate, being this last one the most relevant. As Nuevo León is in the desert zone, we can describe its climate as warm, with low precipitations and variable temperatures, but Veracruz on the other hand is in tropical rainforest zone, with a big amount of precipitations almost the whole year. An important fact before we continue is that neither the polar zones nor the mountain ranges are classified as biomes because they are not easily defined in terms of abiary factors. You got it? Alright, let's continue then. First things first, aquatic ecosystems are also affected by abiary factors and biory factors, but primarily by water's depth, temperature, flow, and amount of nutrients. And it's the water's depth, the one that ecologists use to classify the photic and aphoric zones. As you can infer from its name, a photic zone is where photosynthesis cannot occur, and is around 200 meters deep in oceans, and the photic zone is where photosynthesis can occur, and is not that deep. Freshwater ecosystems are also described this way, and they can be classified in three major categories: rivers and streams, lakes and ponds, and freshwater wetlands. This last one is further classified as bogs, marshes, and swamps, and the saltwater wetlands are called estuaries. Estuaries are very important because they serve as spawning and nursery grounds for some fishes that are important for us. And finally the sea, that enormous extension of salt water that is home for colossus animals. This enormous extension is divided in 7 zones. From left to right, based on the distance from shore, are located the intertidal zone, coastal ocean, and open ocean. And from top to bottom are located the photic and aphoric zones, besides of the continental shelf and benthic zone.